In our previous example, we looked at some simple conditions in Java. Now I want to look at some more complex conditions where I actually have multiple condition values I'm trying to check for. There's two different ways that we can do this in Java. One is with the if, else, if style block, and the second is with a switch. Let's look at these both real quick. I've already got some basic code set up. I have an imp code equals 10, and then I can go ahead and set up a series of if, else, if type statements. So I might say something like if imp code equals 1, and then I'm going to perform some actions if imp code was equal to 1. Then I can have else if imp code equals 5, for example. I have a block of code. Now the nice thing about this is as soon as my condition is met, I don't check anything else in those else if blocks. So this is very, very handy. The second thing that's nice about this is while I'm checking for equality here, I could also have greater than or less than and have a series of ranges I'm finding. Now, I can do this and I can have a bunch of else if blocks, but if I'm looking for a bunch of equal values, then a switch might be easier. Let's take a quick look at what that would look like. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to say switch. Then I have my key. What is it I'm going to be checking against? Well, I'm going to check against imp code. Then I have a case for value. Now, you notice that right now value is actually set up as a variable in Visual Studio Code. That's just a little template it gave me. And of course, your editor may not give you that at all. But in this case, what I can do is I can replace this. I can say 1. Then I have a colon, and I can put some code. The break is technically optional. I don't have to have that break. But what the break does is it says, you know what? Once I've reached this point, I can keep on working. Let's show you what it looks like if I don't have it. So I'll say case 5, colon, and let's say the same thing's going to happen whether the employee code is a 5 or a 10. Well, I can simply just do it like this without my break. If it's a 5 or a 10, it will perform the same block of code. Now, once I hit that break, and as you see there, I'm going to exit out of my switch. A couple things that are interesting about the switch, if you're not used to using them. One is I'm looking for exact matches. Okay? I cannot use like a greater than or less than or anything like that in most languages. Java's one of them. Must be an exact match. The second thing that's kind of interesting with this is I do have a default. The default's kind of like an else. What happens if none of my cases got matched? Well, the default, which is optional, will then run. If I don't have a default, then nothing happens. And so this may be left out. Once again, just for good simplicity, I like to have my break. And then once I meet a match or I hit the default, I'll come to the closing of my switch braces. And that makes it very, very easy to find a lot of matches. So depending upon am I looking for ranges or exact matches, if I have more than 3 or 4, I'm going to consider, okay, do I look for an else if block or am I looking at the switch style block? Whichever is more appropriate is the one I want to use. Java gives them both to me, as you can see here. Hopefully you found this example helpful in learning how to use if, else, if style blocks, as well as switch blocks inside of Java. If so, you might want to consider giving the video a like, just so I know to keep on making videos like this for you. Additionally, you might want to subscribe so you can see more videos that are coming out on programming in Java.